Most people live with the quiet H of waiting, waiting for love, waiting for clarity, waiting for a sign from God that what they long for is not in vain. And in that waiting, something dangerous begins to happen. The soul grows restless, anxiety creeps in. You begin to measure your worth not by who you are becoming, but by whether someone has chosen you yet. And here's the startling truth. The more desperate you become, the more invisible you often feel, because desperation does not attract, it repels. People can sense it in your words, in your eyes, in the way you carry yourself. But let me ask you this. Why do so many people struggle endlessly in relationships? Is it because fate is cruel, because God is withholding, or is it because we have misunderstood what waiting truly means? We confuse waiting with passivity. We assume that waiting is sitting by the phone, hoping someone calls, hoping someone notices. But waiting in the biblical sense has nothing to do with inactivity. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. Waiting is not weakness. Waiting is preparation. Think about it. How many of you have sat in your room at night scrolling through social media, comparing your life to someone else's highlight reel, wondering if you'll ever be enough, if love has passed you by, if maybe you're destined to live alone? You don't say it out loud, but the thought eats at you. And in those moments, it's easy to think God has forgotten. Yet it is often in the very silence of waiting that He is preparing you for something you cannot yet see. Here's the challenger. Stop thinking of waiting as wasted time. Waiting is your gym, your training ground, your classroom. God isn't punishing you by delaying. He's strengthening you, shaping you, transforming you into someone who can carry the weight of the relationship you're asking for, because a high-value connection requires a high-value person. So hear me clearly, God is not asking you to wait forever. He is asking you to prepare. And when that preparation collides with His timing, the answer doesn't just trickle in. It arrives suddenly, not gradually, not halfway, but suddenly. Like Joseph going from the prison to the palace in a single day, like Ruth stepping from obscurity into destiny when she crossed paths with Boaz. Suddenly, and here is the mic drop moment I need you to hold onto. Your waiting season is not proof of God's absence. It is proof of His investment. Because when the answer comes, and it will come so quickly, so undeniably, that you'll realize the wait was never a delay. It was divine preparation. Let's begin with a difficult truth. Most people are not single because God has forgotten them. They are single because they have not yet become the kind of person who can sustain the relationship they're praying for. And that is a hard reality to face. We like to believe love is some magical event that falls into our laps, that timing is arbitrary, and that responsibility plays no role. But that belief is childish. Love is not a lottery ticket. It's the product of character, discipline, and growth. Why do so many people fail again and again in relationships? Is it fate conspiring against them? Or is it that their own chaos, insecurity, and lack of preparation makes them unfit for what they claim they desire? You can't pray for a healthy marriage while clinging to destructive habits. You can't demand loyalty while you're unfaithful to your own values. Relationships are mirrors, and they reflect who you truly are, not who you pretend to be. I once knew someone who spent years waiting passively. She believed God would simply drop the right person into her life. So she sat still, resentful of others who found love, doing nothing to grow, nothing to challenge herself. As time passed, her bitterness grew, and so did her desperation. When people did come into her life, they felt the weight of that neediness and they left. Desperation is not attractive. It is suffocating. It communicates that you want someone to rescue you rather than walk with you. And nobody wants to carry the unbearable burden of being your savior. Here's the brutal truth. Desperation destroys attraction. People are drawn to competence, to strength, to self-respect. They are drawn to those who have developed themselves to the point where they can contribute to a relationship rather than consume one. If your self-worth depends on whether someone loves you, you've already lost, because love built on need collapses. But love built on mutual strength endures. This is the mindset shift you need. Marriage is not a trophy you win because you waited long enough. It's a responsibility. It demands maturity, sacrifice, and the willingness to put another person before yourself. You cannot walk into it unprepared. And God, in his wisdom, will not entrust you with it until you have proven capable of carrying the weight. So here's my challenge to you. Stop waiting passively. Stop chasing frantically. Instead, build yourself, develop your mind, discipline your habits, deepen your faith, and become the kind of person who doesn't just want love, but who can sustain it. Because the truth is this: if you are not becoming better, you are becoming bitter. And bitterness will not bring you closer to the relationship you desire. And let me leave you with this undeniable truth. Love is not found by those who wait helplessly or chase recklessly. It is found by those who become the kind of person who carries strength, humility, and purpose, and watch as the right relationship arrives, not by accident, not by luck, but by design. That is not fate. That is responsibility aligned with divine timing. Let me put this plainly. If you spend your life chasing people, you will never discover the kind of love that is worth having. Chasing implies you are always behind, always grasping, always desperate for someone else to validate you. And that posture communicates something fundamental, that you do not see yourself as valuable enough or be chosen freely. Attraction is not sustained by begging, it is sustained by being. Why do so many people sabotage their own relationships? Is it because the universe is cruel, or is it because at a deeper level, they are attempting to manipulate what should be mutual? If you have forced someone to notice you, then what you are building is not a relationship, it is a hostage situation. Love is not meant to be coursed. It is meant to emerge from the recognition of value that is evident, undeniable, and naturally attractive. I remember speaking with a young man who admitted that he was exhausted from constantly chasing women who never stayed. He thought persistence would win their hearts, but what he failed to see was that persistence without substance is empty. He had not cultivated discipline or purpose or strength of character, and so his pursuit was hollow, and when women left, he grew more bitter. He thought he was unlucky, but the truth was simpler. He was trying to receive what he had not yet become. Here's the hard truth: desperation is poison to attraction. It signals to others that you lack stability, that you cannot stand on your own, and people sense that instinctively. What sustains attraction is not pleading for attention, but embodying competence, carrying self-respect, and pursuing growth. When you are secure in yourself, When you are aligned with your purpose, you radiate a strength that cannot be faked. And that strength draws others to you without you having to chase. This is where the shift must occur. Marriage is not a medal for participation. It is not given because you waited long enough or begged hard enough. Marriage is a covenant that demands sacrifice, responsibility, and maturity. It is a sacred partnership where you give as much as you receive. And if you are not ready to give, if you are not prepared to carry the weight, and then you are not ready for what you're asking for, God is not withholding from you. He is protecting you until you have the kind of person who will not destroy what he intends to bless you with. So here is the call to action. Stop running after people who were never meant for you. Stop lowering yourself to the point where your worth depends on someone else's approval. Instead, rise, develop competence, build a life so strong, so purposeful, so radiant with value that the right person cannot help but be drawn to you. You don't need to chase when you become magnetic. And here's the undeniable truth I want you to carry with you. Real love is not pursued, it is attracted. When you become a person of value, love finds you not because you begged for it, not because you manipulated it, but because you became someone who no longer needed it to survive. And in that strength, you became worthy of it. Waiting is one of the most misunderstood ideas in human life. People think waiting means sitting still, doing nothing, and hoping God drops the right person into their lap. But that's a childish notion, and it ruins people's lives, because waiting without preparation is just stagnation, and stagnation always leads to decay. So let me ask you this. Why do so many people remain trapped in cycles of failed relationships? Is it really because the right person never came along? Or is it because they never became the kind of individual who could sustain the relationship they prayed for? You can't expect to step into a covenant as weighty as marriage while remaining immature, insecure, and unprepared. That's not divine timing. That's self-sabotage dressed in the disguise of hope. I once spoke with a woman who said she had been waiting for years for God to send her a husband. She had memorized all the verses about waiting on the Lord, but she interpreted them to mean she should do nothing. Over time, her waiting turned into bitterness. She looked at others who got married and assumed God had overlooked her. What she never saw was that while she was waiting passively, she wasn't growing. She wasn't developing discipline, emotional intelligence, or spiritual depth. And so when opportunities did come, she was unprepared to recognize or nurture them. Her waiting was not holy, it was hollow. Here's the hard truth. God's timing is not about passively hoping. It's about actively preparing. If you expect a relationship of depth, you must first become a person of depth. If you want a partner of strength, you must cultivate strength within yourself. If you pray for loyalty, you must learn how to be trustworthy. There is no bypass here. Love demands that both people arrive with something to give, not just something to take. This is the mindset shift. Marriage is not a gift you're owed. It's a covenant you must be qualified for. And qualification doesn't come from waiting long enough. It comes from transforming yourself into someone capable of carrying the responsibility. High value relationships require higher value individuals. That is not unfair. It is reality. God doesn't give you what you want. He gives you what you're ready to steward. And if you aren't preparing, you're not waiting, you're wasting time. So here's my challenge. Stop imagining that time alone will fix everything. Time doesn't change you. Discipline does. Growth does. Transformation does. Use this season not to complain about what hasn't arrived, but to sharpen yourself into someone who can handle what God is about to send. Because the truth is, when the timing is right, the answer comes suddenly. And if you aren't prepared, you'll miss it, or worse, you'll ruin it. And let me leave you with this undeniable truth. God's answers don't arrive when you've had enough of waiting. They arrive when you become enough through waiting. And when that moment comes, it won't feel gradual. It will feel sudden, like destiny itself has collided with your preparation. That's not coincidence. That's divine timing meeting personal responsibility. The great mistake people make is believing that when the right person shows up, everything will fall into place. That belief is not just naive, it is destructive, because relationships don't save you, they expose you. They don't erase your flaws, they magnify them. And if you haven't confronted your own chaos before stepping into a covenant as sacred as marriage, that chaos will consume the relationship from the inside out. So let me ask you, why do so many people find themselves repeating the same heartbreaks, the same arguments, the same disappointments? Is it really because fate has cursed them? Or is it because they keep dragging the same unexamined baggage into every new relationship, hoping someone else will carry it? Responsibility cannot be outsourced. You cannot expect another person to heal what you refuse to face. I remember counseling a young man who was desperate for marriage. He thought a wife would fix his loneliness, stabilize his insecurities, and give him meaning. But when he did meet someone, his unresolved wounds made him controlling, jealous, and insecure. He smothered what he had prayed for because he had not prepared himself to carry it. His problem wasn't that God was withholding a blessing. His problem was that he was unprepared to receive it. And the tragedy is that this is the story of countless lives, people asking for something they are not yet qualified to steward. Here is the truth you cannot escape. Desperation is not only unattractive, it is dangerous. It drives you to compromise, to chase people who don't value you, to accept relationships that slowly destroy you. Desperation blinds you to red flags and convinces you to settle for less than you're worth. But real attraction, real love is built on confidence, self-respect, and growth. It is built on two individuals who have faced themselves, disciplined themselves, and chosen to walk in strength rather than weakness. This is where the mindset must shift. To marriage is not a fairy tale ending. It's a covenant that requires sacrifice. It is not given to you because you want it. It is entrusted to you because you've proven yourself capable of handling it. The very reason many people haven't received what they're praying for is because God, in His mercy, knows it would collapse in their current hands. The delay is not denial, it's protection. So here is my challenge to you. Stop treating waiting as wasted time and start treating it as training. Use this season to develop depth, to face your fears, to discipline your habits, to become emotionally and spiritually strong. Don't wait for the right person to complete you. Become complete, and then watch how the right person recognizes that strength. When you build yourself, you stop chasing, you start attracting. And here is the mic drop truth I want you to remember. The relationship you are waiting for is not waiting for time. It's waiting for transformation. And the moment you rise into you were always meant to be, what feels delayed will arrive suddenly, because it was never about chance. It was always about character.